Hey everyone, my name is Jen Noble Shepherd and I'll be walking you through the steps of making a barn quilt. So typically these are really big wooden squares that you'll see on the outside of, originally they were just outside of barns, like hanging on the side. But they're so unique and beautiful that I think they've gained a little bit more popularity, and you'll see them on the sides of houses and businesses. They're really all over, and it's a really nice surprise to see one, and the uniqueness and the creativity that goes into making one of them. So today I'll be walking you through the steps of making your own, and you should have been given all the supplies that you need to make one. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first step will be to figure out what pattern you're going to use. So my suggestion is to either do a Google search and find an actual quilt pattern that you like, or look up barn quilts and see if there is a pattern there that you like. So here is a screen where there's just lots of different examples. So take into account the difficulty. Some of them, actually, like this one right here, it looks very intricate and looks like it would be difficult, but this is actually a really simple one. So the one that I chose, you don't have to do this one. You definitely can, but I do suggest that you decide on one that everyone agrees on and that you really like. But I decided to do this one because it's simple, but it's also very bright and colorful, and I really like that. There's some really easy ones. There's some with just two colors, or there's some with just many colors. So just look on Google if you don't want to come up with your own design, and see if you can find one that you really like. So for the one that I chose, first of all, I'm just going to look, and you can kind of count how many rows there are. Believe it or not, a lot of math goes into this process. So if you look here, you'll see here's a row, the second row, third, and fourth. So there's 4 different rows of squares and triangles. I think this is called a half square triangle. So I know that I'm going to have to break my board up into fourths in both directions, right? But the first thing that we want to do is pre-sketch it out. You don't want to go straight to your board and start drawing lines, right? So get a piece of paper and pencil. I use a yellow colored pencil just so I can see the color, but it's not going to stand out like a black would. So you'll see this is my finished drawing sketch out. You'll see that there's no black lines. The yellow lines you can see them, but they're not taking away from the colors. So the first thing I did was decided what size my square was going to be on my paper. Since I knew that I needed to break it up into 4 columns and 4 rows, I decided I would make them 2 inches for each square just on my paper. So I did 2, 4, 6, 8 inches both directions, and then I made little lines to show where 2 inches are. So this is 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches. Okay, so then the next thing you're going to do is connect all those lines so that you have your grid. And then the next thing will be to draw out the lines so that you know where all of the lines go. And then I just did like a little squiggly line in there so that I know that those are the sections that are going to be colored in, and the ones without the squiggly line, like here, is going to be blank. Or I painted mine black. You don't have to do that. You can just do like a primer. You can paint the background white or decide whatever. I mean, you can do whatever you want to. So if you want the background to be different color, just choose whatever color you want. So, and then I played around with the colors. So I did kind of blues together and greens together, and then broke it up a little bit, right? And here's where I just played with like what colors will go together. So this is what my barn quilt is going to look like when it's finished. It may be a little bit different because I use colored pencils and I'm going to be using paint, and the colors might not be the same. If you don't have colored pencils, you can use markers or chalk or whatever you might have available. Or paint. Just use the paint. It's a little bit harder in these tiny little spaces. Or just right in there, like light blue, blue-green, whatever color it is. Okay. So this gives you a good visual, and you can decide, okay, do I like this? Yes or no? And you can make changes. Right? And it's not a big deal because it's not on your actual quilt square. So here is my board. Now I'm actually using a canvas. I don't have the same thing that you have, but I'm doing the same thing on here that I did on the paper, except my square here is 12 inches. It's a 12-inch square. I got my ruler and I marked every 3 inches. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. Alright, so I did that on this side, and then I did it again on this side, and then I connect the lines and made my grid, and then I used my paper to see where all the little lines go. So now I have this as kind of a guide to what color goes where. So the best brushes to use are going to be any of these. So they're all square, like they're flat across the top, or they're at an angle. Okay, and I have a bigger one, like a medium sized one, and then a smaller one. So I have a large and a medium square brush, and then a larger and a medium angle brush, and then you can just kind of see which ones you like better, which one works better for getting into these little crevices here. So if you want, you can use tape. You can tape up the sides, put tape around the edges so that you don't get paint over there and you have like a messy edge. You don't want that. And if you want, you can tape off every time you work on a square. If you're really not good at making fine straight lines, you can use tape. But these brushes right here, the flat ones, you'll see you can kind of just move right along the edge. Okay, so, and I used a yellow marker again with, or a yellow pencil again with this to do the grid lines so that I can see it and it's not going to take away from the color or be hard to cover up with the paint. Okay, so I'm going to get some paint poured. I'm just using a plate, and I'm going to get the colors that I need onto my plate. It may require some mixing. For mine, I have lots of different shades of the same color. So you'll see there's lots of different shades of green. So you may need to have a little bit of understanding of how to take a green base and make it tint with a little bit of yellow. So if it's yellowish green, you're just going to add a little bit of yellow to it. If you need to make this darker green, but all you have is just like plain green, add a little bit of black to it. So black makes colors darker, and white makes colors lighter. So just keep that in mind if you need to make more colors than what you have. So just a moment and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm starting with the shades of pink on mine, and I just wanted to show you how I use the brush to make this really solid clean line. So I just move the edge of it along the edge of the section that I want to be pink, so it's easier to do that first. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Okay, and now, so I have my clean outside edges, and then I can just paint it in. So I did the background in black, so it's probably going to require a couple of coats, which is okay. Just make sure that if you're mixing and making colors, that you make enough. Don't make too much. That's the key, is trying to figure out how much you need so that you don't waste a whole lot. But you have enough to fill in the space and make it look really solid and clean. So you can see that background in there. So I'm going to need this to dry, and then I'll go back in and do another coat, and it'll be good and solid. So now I have my pink on my plate, and I need other shades. So I'm just going to leave that there, and then add white to make another shade of pink that I need for a different section. So here I have white and the pink. So I'm just going to move a little bit of the pink here, and then grab a little bit of the white, and just use this section right here to just make a different shade. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to make enough so that I have plenty for 2 coats, maybe 3. It just depends on what color your background is. Now I suggest that you make a mark on both your board and your paper so you know where the top is, because it's easy to get it turned around and confused. So I'm going to put just a little bit of pink up there. Use a pencil or whatever you have, and I'm going to put a mark up here so now I know the top. Okay, so here is my finished product. You can see that it's still wet, but some of them took quite a lot of layers or coats, and what you do in that case, make sure that you wait until the first coat is dry before you try to put on another one, or else it's just moving the paint around. And then after I got all of my triangles painted, went back with my background color, which in my case is black, and just really define those lines on the outside, so if they were messy at all, and you can see that it's not like completely perfect, so the lines in between are not, I mean, they're pretty straight, but some of them like overlap just a little bit, and that's okay. Like, it does not have to be perfect, because I mean, from here it looks pretty clean. Yeah, so that's about it. So make sure that you have some kind of hardware on the back. You can get these little things right here, or you can get the eyelet screws and the wire to hang it up. And then one more step that you might want to do, it's not completely necessary, but especially if you're going to put your barn quilt outside, you'll want some kind of protective coat over it, and I recommend any kind of spray varnish or Mod Podge. So if you have any of this, just wait until it's completely dry, and then just put a coat of that on there, and you'll be ready to hang. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing what you all created and what you came up with. I hope that some of you got to use your creativity to make something that is very unique for your cabins. And yeah, if you can, get your teacher to send me a picture of what you guys created. I would love that so much. And the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy the process. Creating is lots and lots and lots of fun. So, hope y'all have a great day. Bye.